In planning models, we can use data locks to prevent changes to specific combinations of dimension members, or restrict write permissions to certain users. To apply data locks, we first need to enable the option in the model preferences. We can choose the default lock state for all cells, open or locked. We need to save the change to the model before we can configure the data lock settings. Now we'll create the data locks. Version and time are required driving dimensions, and we can select additional dimensions if we want to apply data locks to their members. Here we'll add the region dimension. In the data locking owners area, we can choose to enable ownership or copy responsible users for driving dimensions other than time. The Enable Ownership option adds a data locking owner column to the dimension. If the dimension contains a person responsible column, the Copy Responsible Users option is available to copy the existing responsible users to the data locking owner column. If we don't copy responsible users, we can manually add users to the dimension's data locking owner column if desired. We need to finish editing before we can define the data locks. Now we can choose the intersection of members to lock from the driving dimensions. We have the option to go back to the previous screen or to hide some specified dimensions from the canvas if desired. First, we'll configure locks on the time dimension. We'll lock 2018 quarters 1 and 2. Next, we'll lock the region dimension. We'll lock the overseas member. Now we'll show the grid to configure the settings for the combination of dimension members we've selected. Because we chose Open as the default lock state in the model preferences, the values for all cells are open by default. We can set the values as restricted or locked if desired. The restricted option allows users identified in the data locking owner column of the dimension to make changes to the respective members, while the locked option prevents changes by any user. For this example, we'll lock the Q1 and Q2 values for 2018 for the overseas member of the region dimension. Note that when we set a cell as restricted rather than locking it, we can click the user icon to specify one or more data locking owners who are permitted to enter values for the dimension. Now we'll close the data locking window. Note that the version dimension now contains a data locking owner column where we can add usernames if desired. In the region dimension, the new data locking owner column contains the values from the person responsible column because we chose the option to copy the responsible users. Note that data locking owners can change the lock status for the dimension members to which they are assigned in the model, and also modify values for those dimension members in the tables when the lock status is set to restricted. Now we'll save the changes to the model. In tables based on the model, the values are locked based on the settings we applied. In a table that shows the time and region dimensions, values are locked for Q1 and Q2 of 2018 for the overseas region, but not for the East US and West US regions. Note that the values are also locked at the United States level of the hierarchy, because any changes at this level would also impact the overseas values. We could enable changes at the United States level by applying a filter to exclude the overseas region from the table. Similarly, in a table that displays only the account and time dimensions, values for Q1 and Q2 of 2018 are locked because any changes would also affect the members of the region dimension. Thanks for watching.